You have an app idea but don't know where to start to execute it. Which are the precise steps you should go through to have a successful application? And are wondering what to do to bring my idea into reality? Well, I am here to tell you that it's not your fault. When it comes to create an application, it is normal to be loose at the beginning and don't know where to start. You are not the only person with this problem. Jose here, and for several years I have been helping companies around the world to create their no-code apps. And in this video, I'm going to unveil you the 10 steps to have a successful application. These steps were extracted from my personal experience with my agency and developing their application for my clients, and other of the steps were extracted from the strategies that I saw from the most successful clients that I have. So anything I do, let's dive into it. Step number 1. You need to define a problem. An idea is nothing without a problem to solve or an opportunity to harness. So the first thing you need to figure out is the problem that you are going to solve for the market. And one of the ways that I noticed is the best one to get with good problems to solve is to have deep understanding of an industry. This way you reduce the risk of starting to develop your application because you know that it's a problem that is worth solving and has a potential market. Other of the things that make valuable to find problems through deep understanding of an industry is that because you are an expert and you are going to know better what will be a good minimum viable product which users will be willing to pay for. The second step is to define the user. You will need to have a deep understanding of the users that are going to use your application, because that way you're going to have a better understanding of the problem that you want to solve. You will have a better idea of how to reach out to them and which features are important to them so that you include them in the minimum viable product and you start monetizing as quick as possible. When it comes to knowing your clients better, there are two moments. One before you launch your application and the other one once you launch it. So before you launch your application, you can know them better if you are an expert in the field, or by hiring experts so that they give you insights about the industry, or by making surveys or having focus groups. And once you launch your application, you will need to have a way to acquire feedback. I recommend you to read the book Daily and Startup, How to Obtain Feedback and Measure Your Application in a cycle that makes your application every time you go through the cycle better and better. The third step is to define how you are going to acquire your clients. This is why it is important to first know the problem, then the users that are going to use your application, and now is the moment to planify how you're going to acquire your users. This is critical because it will make the difference between a successful application and a failure. This remembers me one of the traits that I see that makes the most successful application, and is to have a network before you start building your app, because this way you will have clients requesting for an application or for a solution for a specific problem, and you just have to build it, but you already have some secure clients that are going to use it once it is launched. Other way is via social media, or you have a personal brand, or via SEO, but you need to have a clear idea on how you are going to do this. Before we continue, and if you are liking this content, hit the subscribe button down below, and if you have an app idea and need someone to help you to build it, I can help you with my no-code agency. Contact me via LinkedIn in the link I leave you in the description. The fourth step is to create a list of the features and the journey that the user is going to have in your application. For that, I recommend to create a document like this one. In this case, this document was created for a project of an app that was going to use AI and a chatbot to help users to fill a visa for a given country. So you need to be thoughtful on this list of features, pages and sections, and think of this while simulating in your brain how the user will interact with your application. So in this case, the first step is the bubble initial setup. This is not something the user will use, but the second step is the register and login page. Then the settings page where the user is going to edit their personal information. Then a section with the history of forms where the user will be able to access to former forms that he filled. Then a form creator, a checkout where the user are going to pay to the app owner for creating new forms. The chatbot section, that is the one that the user is going to use to fill the form while using the chat. And in this case we were going to use Relevance AI and integrate some other tools with Make. So as you can see, I divided this by sections and pages Within each of them, I included some descriptions describing the features that each part we're going to have, and you can attach images of similar applications or applications that have similar features as the ones you want to create. This is important because this way you can be clearer on what you want with a given developer, or you can remember better how you want to create your application where you are developing it. The fifth step is the design. And with design, I don't just mean the Figma design, but all the design of the application, the logo, the colors that you're going to use, the fonts. So I recommend to start with the logo, because with the logo you can have maybe the fonts that you're going to use and some of the colors of your application, and then to design a little mock-up of one piece of the interface of your application so that you can decide how will be the look and feel of the app. And then you can start with the Figma design, in where you can be as specific as you want. Some projects need to have a more detailed and complete Figma design, and some other projects can have a simpler Figma design describing just some parts of the application and complementing that with the document that you did before in the fourth step. I think that you now can start building and hire a developer or build it yourself. The sixth step is to define which tools you're going to use to create your application. While the majority of ideas can be executed with no-code tools, there are others that can't be addressed with these kind of tools, and you will need custom code to create them. So for example, if you want to create an AI application that leverages from LLMs, you can use Flowwise, Relevance, VoiceFlow. If you want to create a web application, you can use Bubble.io. Or if you want to create just a website with a blog and e-commerce functionality, you can use WordPress, Shopify, or even Webflow. The seventh step is to decide whether to hire a developer or to develop the application by yourself. And this will depend on two factors: your expertise and your budget. Regarding to the expertise, if you never have built an application with no code tools, or you even don't know how to code, I don't recommend you to develop the application by yourself if you are planning to launch the application as quick as possible. And the second one is the budget. So if you have a tight budget, develop by yourself, and if you have a better budget, you can hire an agency. The eighth step is to divide the project in stages. I really recommend you, especially if your project is a big one, to divide the development in stages so that you can keep an eye in every stage, and you can predict better when things are going to be completed. Because the bigger the project, the harder to estimate when the entire project will be completed. But if you divide it in stages, you are going to keep an eye on every stage and each timeline. The step number 9 is to start developing. I recommend you to have recurrent revisions of the application, maybe once a week or every time a section is completed, because this way you can have an eye in the bugs that your app could have, or you can correct and request some features that at the beginning were not obvious, but now that you are using it, you can see that they are necessary for the application. And corrections are way easier to be made in early stage of the development than when the app is already launched and you need to have a lot of corrections. I recommend you to see this video in where I talk about this recurring feedback and why it is important. And the last step, and is the most exciting one, is when you launch your application. In this stage, you will apply how you planned to acquire your clients, and your users will start using your application. So I send you the best wishes for your app idea and hope you have a successful application. I hope you like this video. Remember to hit the subscribe button or to watch other of my videos. Bye!